shiny silk that's only in certain places on the web. If only we were as intelligent as spiders. Well, anyway, how are you? I hope you're in love with someone who loves you. I hope nothing comes in the way of your love. I was listening to Johnny Cash on the drive to school this morning. I was listening to him sing about love. You are the rose of my heart. You are the love of my life. Oh, what slush. But I tell you, more and more, I like slush like that. As I get older, I can put up with slush. I think if I ever tried to write a song, I'd write a slushy song. You are the rose of my heart. Like that. Did you ask your mother about me, by the way? But I guess it would be better for you to listen all the way to the end of the story before you speak to her about me. By the time you get these tapes, it will be Christmas. Though right now, Christmas is next week. I have a gift I wish I could send you, but I don't have the nerve. I was surprised to find it at Marshall Fields downtown, the old Marshall Fields. It's Macy's now, but they had the perfume your mother used to wear. It takes me back. It takes me back. This takes me back. Just talking to you about her. I'm going to stop now. I'm not in the best frame of mind to continue. This is the first Christmas in 28 years that I'll be alone. The girls aren't coming home. My daughters, my 2 daughters, they're out west. You'd like them. They'd like you. Marcia, she's a serious one, a whiz at math. She's in an engineering program at Caltech now. And Tracy, she wants to be an actress. She's waiting tables in LA and trying to get auditions. She's been in one TV commercial so far, a local commercial for was for pet food, and Tracy is on a beach throwing a ball to a dog. The dog is the one mostly in the commercial. Tracy's only on for a split second. I don't know. I don't think LA is the best place for her, but I can't tell her that. Maybe you could tell her that. Someday you'll meet the girls. You're half sisters after all. Well, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Dear Sally, I appreciate your patience and hope you will bear with me a little longer. I was remembering when I heard from your grandmother, when was it, back in 2000, that your mother's second marriage had ended in divorce. I was sorry for her. No, I wasn't. Well, you could tell her for me. Tell her. No, I guess you shouldn't tell her that. Forget it. Let's wait. Maybe you can coax her to reveal things to you without admitting that you've heard from me. There's her side of the story. There's mine. We're lichen. Our stories, the way they relate, they remind me of lichen. Lichen, you know, is made up of fungus and algae. It's really 2 plants in one. The fungus is a parasite. It draws the carbohydrates from the algae, but the algae doesn't seem to mind. I like to cite lichen as a prime example of symbiosis. Doesn't every story involve symbiosis in a way, a relationship of dependence between parts? Your mother's story, which she knows, it's a partial version, but so is your grandmother's. The story your grandmother believed, well, it's not all true. It's true that she thought it was true. What I mean is, I'm getting all bollocksed up. Your grandmother, okay, so this is where it gets complicated. Are you sitting down? I'm standing, looking out the window of my condo, looking at the parking lot. It's unseasonably warm today. It's been warm for weeks here. How about there? Why am I stalling? I'm going to tell you. I can begin to get into the details. Let's see. In the summer of 1974, your mother and I fell in love. By August, she was pregnant with you. That November, I abandoned her. I never wrote to her, never explained anything. I left her to conclude that my disappearance was an act of a profound betrayal. And that's what you were brought up to believe, I assume, right? How would you ever know different? The real reason I left was a secret I was obliged to guard for the rest, I thought for the rest of my life. There was only one other person in the world who knew the truth, what I thought was the truth, and that was your mother's mother, your grandmother. But wait, let me back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. I could use a sip of water. I just thought that. No, I didn't. All right. I was telling you about that summer. Your mother worked during the day as a lifeguard at a country club, and after work she'd come to my room. When I was in town, that is, and not out on some highway in Minnesota or Missouri. It's strange that I drove through Missouri, but never Kansas. I don't know why I never drove through Kansas. I was away more often than I was home, but when I was home, I was with your mother. She came over every night. We'd listen to music and take off our clothes and lie with each other. But maybe I shouldn't be telling you the details. Is a father supposed to talk to his daughter about her conception? It was in one of those old houses by the train tracks, those shingle houses in Maplewood. Or maybe it was in the Edgerton neighborhood or Dutchtown. It could have been Dutchtown. I was renting my rooms by the month back then, and I lived in 3 different rooms that year. I was in search of the best room I could get for the money. I wanted a nice room where your mother and I could listen to music and make love. We were so caught up in each other, we didn't think about birth control at first, and when we did, well, it was too late. In September, your mother went back to school, but I'd visit her on weekends whenever I could. And she came home and surprised me one evening in October. As I opened the door to let her in, there was a rumble of a train in the distance. I remember hearing a freight train. And then, when we were inside together, the overhead bulb went out suddenly, just for a second, and then blinked on again. I remember Penny. I called her Penny, you know. I remember she became vivid with the light. Her face was suddenly vivid. And I saw that she was struggling to speak. She wasn't upset, though. No, not exactly upset. She was frowning like she was trying to think up a word to a crossword clue. Does she still love crossword puzzles? There was a time I remember when she would do nothing else until we came up with the answer to a difficult clue. I don't remember the clue, but the word, it was elaborate. Elaborate. We figured it out together. Well, that was a different time. The time she came over to tell me she was pregnant, all she said was, "I have something to tell you." And I knew what she had to tell me, and without asking what exactly she had to tell me, I said, "We'll get married, let's get married." We really loved each other. We wanted to be together forever. We wanted to have a family together. We weren't expecting to start so soon, but we thought we were ready, and when it came to committing ourselves to each other for the rest of our lives, we didn't hesitate. We were in complete agreement that we belonged together. We started to plan a wedding, and we decided it would be better to elope. You see, your grandmother had taken a dislike to me, or that's the impression she gave. I thought she'd decided that her daughter deserved better than me, and she didn't want me around. But it turned out she had another reason for wanting to keep us apart. My own mother was dead by then. She died in June, her name was June. June was over in July, there's the irony. Anyway, I was all alone except for your mother. We were having a child together, we'd marry and start a family. You have to understand, I would have been totally alone without your mother. I was alone after I left her. I couldn't bear being so alone. I remember reading a statistic in a magazine around that time. I remember it said, 1 in every 4 Americans will develop a physical ailment attributable to emotional causes. I don't know if that was an accurate statistic, but I thought about it. I was thinking about it when I was driving to Detroit. But here, I've gone and gotten ahead of myself again. Let's see. I was saying that we knew by by the beginning of October that your mother was pregnant. And we let, it Nearly a month. We let about a month go by. We kept it a secret.